So I'm going to start off with one autistic self-care thing that is personal to me, and that's that I don't have a very good sense of what my body is feeling, and I often miss the cues that I am becoming overloaded until it's far too late and I have to spend a lot of time and energy then de-escalating from how overstimulated I've become. So things that I'm sensitive to, especially in this weather, are things like being cold. And if I stay still for too long, then my body gets even colder. And if I don't have enough layers of clothing on, then my body gets even colder. But wearing lots of layers of clothes can also cause sensory overload for me because of how tight it becomes, especially around sort of the elbows and the armpits. And I don't like to have lots of bulk and tightness around my feet. Specifically in regard to getting too cold, I don't notice that I'm becoming cold. I only notice when I'm so cold I can't function. So my brain starts shutting down, I start getting confused, I start getting angry, I start not being able to respond to basic requests of me. I don't get anything done, I'm stuck, I can't move, my executive dysfunction gets really bad, and then my body's like, hey, your feet are really cold. And I'm like, thanks, buddy. That information would have been so much more useful a lot earlier, because then I could have done something to avoid it escalating to that point. So what I do now is I'm aware that it can escalate to that point, so I try to preempt it and do things to avoid it getting that bad. So what do I do to make sure that I don't become so cold that I'm so overloaded that I can't do anything about how cold I am? Well, three different things. One of them is mindfulness and body scan exercises to improve my interoception, which is my sense of what my body is feeling, like hot, cold, pain, hunger, that sort of stuff. And my other coping mechanisms are making sure that I have enough warm layers and blankets, and sometimes just sitting in bed under the duvet with a hot water bottle to warm up. Just periodically, even if I haven't become totally overloaded, I'll still just make an effort to warm up. And another that I'm not great at, but I'm working on, is pacing myself. So trying not to spend too long sat down and very still, so that I can move around, I can loosen my joints, I can increase my body temperature through movement. So what you can do to discover what your sensory sensitivities are is by looking back at situations where you've become overloaded, overwhelmed, shut down, had meltdowns, become, irritable and unreasonable for no discernible reason. Use your pattern matching skills, your ability to pick up on little details like that, to analyze things and figure out what it is that could have set that off. Or maybe your body just sends you big loud signals of, hey, this isn't okay, and you can go, okay, that's a thing that's a trigger for me, and you can start to plan to either avoid triggers or mitigate the impact that that trigger could have on you, and change your routines and your habits and your choices to better regulate your sensory input.